Welcome to Agents of Nothing, an episode-by-episode recap and analysis from the perspectives of a veteran and a new recruit. And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast.
Hello.
We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 3, The Asset.
Woohoo.
All right, Caroline, so give us the description of the new characters that we meet.
Sure. Okay, so we meet two new characters in this episode. One of them is Dr. Franklin Hall, a.k.a. Kelvin from My Mad Fat Diary, a.k.a. Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter. We also meet Ian Quinn, who looks like a cross between Tobey Maguire and Topher Grace, but like if they were a cop.
It's so weird how familiar he looks, and I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Me neither. I know. I feel the same way.
He just looks like every white man to ever exist.
Every Ian ever.
Yeah, he does, actually.
Anyway, so let's get a rundown on this episode. So we open on an 18-wheeler driving down a beautiful, empty stretch of highway, my favorite kind of highway, and the driver, Mac, is walkie-talkieing with the other members of the caravan about the very, very precious cargo that he's carrying.
There's a character that becomes a main character in later seasons named Mac. So it's interesting that they use this name twice for like two different characters. I don't know if they had planned to bring this character back and just, recast it. If it's I doubt it's supposed to be the same character, but I don't know. It just stood out to me. I thought it was interesting.
That is cool. Anyway, so then suddenly there's no explosion, but we do find out that Lola is apparently not the only flying car, because all of the cars in this caravan start being like picked up and thrown through the air by some invisible giant hand. After the crash, some armed men appear from the trees and they break into the truck, and we finally see the precious cargo. Professor Quirrell?
I remember, this scene was so, impressive to me when I first saw it. Yeah. I was like, what the hell is happening? So Fuse FX provided some of the episode's visual effects, including replacing the S.H.I.E.L.D. vehicles from the opening sequence with computer-generated models to depict them defying gravity and then being destroyed.
That's cool. I kind of wish they would have destroyed some cars, but I get it.
I think that's pretty expensive to do, too, multiple cars.
Probably.
You probably also can't get, a particularly good shot of, a car flying through the air.
Yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, so we cut to S.H.I.E.L.D., where Skye is training with Ward on, a punching bag. And she's like, I thought I was joining S.H.I.E.L.D., not 24-hour fitness. And she's complaining about having to do so much physical training, and she is wondering aloud what kind of training Fitz and Simmons had to do, and they start listing off all of the complicated academic subjects that they had to become experts in, and Skye immediately stops because clearly they're too smart for her. So Skye tries to get Ward to open up, and he won't. So she playfully threatens to get some more truth serum that was mentioned in the pilot episode, and he lies through his teeth like the little gaslighter that he is.
Yes, that is one thing that I wanted to see your opinion on, because he claims it wasn't really a truth serum. Do you believe him?
Absolutely not. Listen, if that wasn't real, then that means the Gramsci thing came from him. He came up with that. And no.
You thought that was charming, Ward?
Right.
You thought that would win anyone over?
You idiot.
Ew.
You idiot.
So the scene after this where they're talking about the precious cargo being stolen, and they mention that the attacker was invisible, and Skye is like, oh, it was invisible, and everyone glares at her. It it is cool that they were invisible, Sky.
Yeah.
You should be able to say that. You should be able to be excited about it. These guys are just killjoys, okay?
Absolutely.
Like,
ridiculous.
you this is a whole new world that we're in. Like, you should be allowed to be amazed by it.
Yeah. I agree.
It's scary, but it's, like, also amazing.
It is. It's crazy. So then the team is like examining the scene of the crash, and Coulson tells everyone that their new mission is to rescue Dr. Franklin Hall, aka Fitzsimmons' favorite professor at Hogwarts. So while they're investigating, we also get a very, very cute Fitzsimmons scene where a goggled up Simmons is holding up some object. She's like a mile down the road and she goes, "Fitz, what am I looking at here?" And Fitz replies, "Well, I can't do a Scottish accent, so I'm not going to do that." He's like, "Well, I'm not wearing the full spectrum goggles that I designed, so I don't know." And Simmons then like turns the object on, and we find out that the true villain was the friends we made along the way. Just kidding. It's like a wind monster thing. And Coulson says it's something big, but it's actually like the smallest villain that I've ever seen. So,
It's a lot of damage for something so small.
it is. That's true. So then Coulson and Ward, they go to the Wild West and they really dress the part. Yeehaw. I love that. They had a lot of fun with it. And while they're there, they threaten this guy on a horse and they make him tell them who he paid for this weird monster technology. And that is when we find out that our real bad guy is someone named Ian Quinn.
The thing that I had to say about this scene, is there really a need to tug the bag with one hand like that, Ward?
Come on.
Could you not just reach into the bag and grab a bar of gold? Like, you had to pull on it 3 times just to get it off and dump out. Like, there's an easier way to do it. I don't know. Maybe everything Ward does is annoying to me because I just don't like him as a person.
Same.
It's like a thing where, like, someone annoys you so much, they could be just minding their own business, and even that annoys you.
Absolutely.
You know, like, that bitch over there in the corner eating crackers. I fucking hate that bitch. Why is she eating the crackers like that?
You know who that bitch is?
That bitch is Ward.
We hate that bitch.
How dare you eat crackers?
How dare you? So Ian, it turns out, is the one who had Hall kidnapped, and he took him to Malta, where Ian apparently had like bought the Maltese prime minister's estate. Which, does that make Ian the prime minister of Malta now? That's never addressed, but I think that's what we're going with. So we find out that Ian and Hall, went to school together, and they kind of developed this technology together using a made-up word, gravitonium. Is that it? Gravitonium? I can't say it.
Okay, so one thing about this scene, Ian is like listing off all of the organizations that he is like escaping by being in Malta because they have no jurisdiction there. And one of the ones that he lists is the EU, and Malta is part of the EU.
Oh my god.
So
dumbass.
I don't know if that is just like a script writing error, a fact checking error, or if that's supposed to like make Ian look dumb. But I'm gonna pretend it's to make Ian look dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty typical of most Ians.
Yeah, men named Ian are the worst. I'm sorry if your name is Ian. This is just going to be a trend of me insulting male names. I insulted Leroy in the last episode, but I'm sorry. Men named Ian are the worst. I have personal experience with Ians, and every Ian I have met is the worst. And
For real.
This, of course, excludes the actor who plays Fitz, Ian DeCasteker. He is my sweet little angel baby. He doesn't count. He uses a different spelling of Ian. It's I-A-I-N, not I-A-N.
Yeah, so he's like Ian.
Yeah, if you don't think about it, my logic makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm with you. 100%. So then we cut back over to S.H.I.E.L.D., where Fitzsimmons are trying to explain the science of it all to the team. And per Sky's request, because in her words, she's a high school dropout, they're trying to dumb it down. And Fitz refers to the gravitonium as, or like part of it, as wiggly bits. And I never want him to stop saying wiggly bits. That was my favorite part of the entire episode.
I could not deal with how cute he is in this scene. I have a joint crush on both Fitz and Simmons. They're so cute.
I love them so much, little babies.
And then he's like clasping his hands together, just like kicking, and it's so, oh my god. I'm over here squealing. But yeah, Sky reveals that she dropped out of high school, which only makes how smart she is all the more impressive.
Absolutely.
Because she's obviously self-taught. Yeah. All of the, like, computer knowledge that she has, that she taught herself, like...
It's crazy.
People go to years and years of college to learn that kind of stuff. And then I'm not sure where this line comes in, but there's a line where they're talking about the fact that Ian Quinn is behind all of this. As Sky says something like, I think that you guys are off base with this because Ian Quinn is like notoriously a good guy and he does all this and he donates to charity and blah, 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 and he's a rich, nice guy. Sky is 1,000% not the type to idolize a billionaire. Like, hello? With what we know about Sky so far, that she is like anti-authoritarian, anti-imperialist, and like, absolutely not. That, in my opinion, that is a continuity issue or like a characterization issue. I know this character better than you do. Give Sky to me. I love her. She's mine. I actually wrote her. Yeah. And only what I say about her is canon. Thank you for your understanding.
So, next, we cut back over to Ian and Hall. And this is the first time that I've really heard Hall actually speak. And oh my god, he has the worst American accent I've ever heard. Like, why did they make him do that? Like, I get it. I can't do accents at all, like, for shit. But there are other people with, like, other accents on this show. Like, couldn't he have just been English?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if this is, like, the actual reason why, but I feel like it could be. In the comics, like, Dr. Franklin Hall is a character in the comics that becomes a villain. And I'm not sure, I haven't read that comic story, but I imagine he's supposed to be American. But yeah, so in the comics, he becomes Graviton, which is like a very powerful supervillain who has physical control over the forces of gravity. Okay. And yeah, no spoilers, but this character does not end up becoming Graviton in the show. That storyline does not play out.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know. He's still, like, taught Fitz and Simmons at their school, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the academy is supposed to be in America. I'm not certain.
Anyway, he has a terrible accent. Then we cut back over to S.H.I.E.L.D., and the team is trying to figure out the best way to enter Ian's fortress without breaking S.H.I.E.L.D. rules or, like, international laws or whatever. And Fitz is like, if we had a monkey, we could get in. We could avoid the lasers and turn off the power source with his adorable little hands.
He's so cute. I love him.
It was adorable.
He's my weird little baby.
So cute.
Oh my
loved it. But unfortunately, Skye had a better idea that she could go because she's technically not a SHIELD agent. So she's not like breaking any laws or any rules or whatever. So logically, like, she is the best choice. And then there goes Ward again, underestimating her time and time again. And after everything we learned in the last episode, and he's like, no, you shouldn't. But then good old Daddy Coulson stands up for his daughter because she's literally a genius. And she also manages to get an Evite to this evil guy's party in the span of this conversation.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't something the rising tide can hack, Skye. She literally just fucking did.
Literally.
Like, literally while you were saying that, she was hacking it. Like, they're constantly underestimating her. And for what?
It's stupid.
For
She's gonna prove you wrong every time. And when are you gonna learn? I don't know. Hopefully soon. Although I am having fun hating Ward.
I don't know. It feels sexist to me, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
because she is a beautiful woman, she can't also be incredibly smart and capable.
Yeah, absolutely. I was feeling the same way.
Or because she's funny.
Yeah.
Like a beautiful woman can't be both funny and smart. You gotta pick at least two.
Only two.
You gotta pick at least two.
Literally the next scene, Ward is like going to Coulson to talk more shit about Skye behind her back, and he's like, we finally learn like why he doesn't trust her, and it's because she, wait for it, makes jokes. Like, sorry, she's hilarious? You child. Like, what is wrong with him?
Some people use humor to cope, Ward.
Just because you don't have a sense of humor.
That was a joke if you couldn't hear the sarcasm in my voice.
But luckily, Coulson is mean to Ward again, which is my favorite pastime, and tells him to stop thinking like an operative and start thinking like a person. So Ward goes back over to Skye to like prove that he's right and he knows better by giving her his tragic backstory of having to protect his younger siblings from their violent older brother. And like, look, having abusive siblings is no joke, and I fully like that makes a lot of sense for why he is the way he is. But also, does that mean that you can only be a good secret agent if you're like super serious and have no sense of humor? Which I'm realizing that that's why he ruined Coulson's joke from the pilot, and I'm still mad at him about that.
Like, literally, like, I don't, even May makes jokes.
Yeah.
Like, they may not be as, like, slapstick as Skye's humor. They may be more, like, dry and deadpan. Maybe Ward is too dumb to understand deadpan humor.
Maybe. He thinks that May's being serious all the time. Anyway, so Skye, like, calms him down, lets him know that she will most definitely stick to the plan, which told me that she will most definitely not stick to the plan.
Oh, you didn't make a note of this, but I want to mark it because when they are, like, running down the plan with Skye and like going over step by step like what she's gonna have to do in order to let down the force field around the area and whatnot to let them get in, they give her this like makeup compact that's like a hacky thing where if it gets close to a computer, whatever, absolutely precious that Fitzsimmons took the time to color match her fake powder foundation. I love them so much.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Fitz says like, it's desert rose to match your complexion.
Aww. Oh my god, they're so cute.
I can't help but get high-pitched when I talk about them because I love them so much.
So then moving on, May is trying to convince Coulson to not like be on the ground with Ward during this mission because it's too dangerous. And Coulson is like, no, I'm not going to put you in the line of fire again. Like, that was your one stipulation of joining this team, and we've already crossed that boundary so many times, so I'm going to do it. And besides, I saw plenty of action with the Avengers. And then he like walks away, and literally I was writing down this note in time with May saying it. She's like, yeah, and you died. Like, oh my God.
I also made a note of that. It is literally exactly what I would say. And it's exactly what you would say. If it were you and me in either position, we would both say that exact thing.
Either one.
Be like, Caroline, are you forgetting that you literally died? You literally died. Loki killed you. Did that slip your mind?
Right. Did you forget about the magical place of Tahiti? So, anyway, we cut to Sky entering the party, and she looks so pretty. Oh my God.
Wait, speaking of her, like, being so pretty, I don't know if this is gonna mean anything to anyone else, but I noticed that, like, her dress is one of those, like drop waist, like, the pleats are, like, at her hips, and I don't know, I feel like that's a very 2013, like, style of dress. And I don't think it's particularly flattering on anyone, but somehow Chloe Bennett makes it work. She could make a potato sack work.
For real. She's literally Marilyn Monroe status.
She's gorgeous.
Anyway, once I recovered, I had to like pause for a minute because she was so pretty. But so I started back up again, and she's like chatting up a few internationally important people with Fitzsimmons and May in her ear. And she scats over to them on her little walkie-talkie. I had to hit rewind because I didn't realize, I literally could not figure out what she said. All I heard was, skip-it-a-bop-bow. She was saying skipper to Bravo. Skipper to Bravo.
Skip-it-a-bop-bow.
I mean, it's basically the same thing. Long story short, she was telling May and Fitzsimmons that she spotted Ian and that she was going over to talk to him. And as it turns out, Ian actually is familiar with Sky's work with Rising Tide, and he wants to hire her. And Sky is interested. Gets her bread, girl. Like, let's do it.
Not only does he want to hire her, he wants to have inappropriate boss-employee relations with her.
Absolutely. Anyway, so Ian cuts their conversation short because he has to go start his presentation for the partygoers about his new technology using Gravitronus or whatever. And he brings up some very good points about S.H.I.E.L.D. and other organizations halting all new tech except for their own use.
Yeah, I get it, but also, I don't know, I think that there does have to be some restrictions because, is it like a Jurassic Park quote where they're like, just because you can, you didn't stop to think whether you should.
Oh, yeah.
And this fits into that category. It's like,
True.
Yeah, you can, but you probably shouldn't, dude.
True.
So on our friend IMDb's fun fact page in the Goofs section, according to Quinn's presentation, gravitonium's atomic number is 123 and its atomic mass is 308. Both of these numbers are higher than anything on the periodic table in reality, which I'm not sure if that's a goof as much as it's a theoretical element that has just been found that is stronger than anything on the periodic table.
Right.
So
doesn't that make it like more realistic that they're not just like borrowing a number from some actual element that does exist?
Yeah, I mean, if it had like the same atomic number as neon, like
right.
I say neon because when I was in elementary school, we had to pick a favorite element on the periodic table, and obviously I picked neon because I'm so quirky.
I think we had to do that too, and I picked like barium or something.
I'm pretty sure I picked neon because my sister was a big John Mayer fan. We're not going to talk about that. But I heard I heard the song Neon growing up a lot. She's always buzzing just like neon, neon. Anyway.
We don't need to get into that.
We don't need to get into John Mayer. we could go on, but we're not.
We'll do that when Speak Now Taylor's version comes out.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bonus episode where we won't talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all, and it's just going to be about Taylor Swift's Speak Now Taylor's version. You can subscribe to our Patreon for that, the one that we haven't made, and you'll get exclusive content where we talk about things that has nothing to do with the show whatsoever. This is all a joke. I need to.
That is absolutely not gonna happen.
I really feel like I need to specify that all of that was a joke because I said it in way too serious of a tone. I am autistic. I am not good at controlling my tone.
For legal reasons, everything that we say on this show is a joke.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on. So we cut back over to Cord
Overstreet of the TV show Glee. Welcome to our Glee podcast. This is Recovering Gleek. My name is Lena. This is Ian. Lena, okay, I don't know if there's a crossover between our audience, if we have one, and Recovering Gleek audience, but Recovering Gleek, the Glee podcast, is one of my favorite podcasts, and Lena, one of the co-hosts, followed our TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know if she's interested and, she's gonna listen. But if you are listening, oh my God, hello, Lena.
Hi.
I love you. You are precious. You are a precious bean. Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay.
Continue.
I'm gonna try that again. So, Coulson and Ward are trying to get onto Ian's property without anyone noticing, and Coulson is insulting Ward's people skills again. Love it. Keep it going. Keep the Ward bashing coming is what I wrote. They come across the back gate, and it's a force field. Oh no.
Oh my God, they threw a rock at it and it destroyed the rock.
Oh no.
Not the rock.
Not Dwayne Johnson.
Not the Rock Johnson.
Wait, though, we literally said the same thing. So then we go back over to Sky in Ian's office, or she's trying to find Ian's office, and she can't quite get in. And then, oh shit, she gets caught by Ian himself.
So David Conrad is the actor who plays Ian Quinn, and what I learned from looking up the fun facts is that Ian Quinn actually has his own musical theme, which I didn't realize. So for this episode, the composer for the show, Bear McCreary, wrote a theme for Ian Quinn, and he stated that he doesn't use it a lot, but it counts when he does. And so when he catches Sky in the hallway and steps forward menacingly, the strings and the woodwinds just kind of sneak in, and they underscore how dangerous he is. Man. Which I think that the fact that neither of us noticed that he has a theme,
right,
it's a sign of good scoring.
Absolutely.
Because ideally, with a good score, you don't notice it that much, but it makes you feel what it's supposed to make you feel.
Right.
And I definitely felt, oh, this guy is bad news.
Right, absolutely. So, like we said, she gets caught by Ian, but she manages to gain back his trust by letting him know that S.H.I.E.L.D. is listening without alerting her walkie-talkie friends, thus making herself a double agent. Whoa.
Whoa.
Simmons and May are shocked by how quickly Sky is able to turn things around and get into Ian's office. And Fitz is like, she obviously boobed her way in boobily. I mean, duh.
My note on this is literally just Fitz talking about boobs like a teenager. God, he literally cups his hands. And I'm like, Fitz, honey, have you seen a boob before? Have you ever seen one? Outside of a shirt and a bra?
Right. He'd be like, well, I would assume that Simmons has some, maybe, I guess.
I might have noticed occasionally that Gemma has the physical feature of breasts. But not that I've ever looked at them.
Never.
I've never noticed them.
Of course not. But then Skye betrays S.H.I.E.L.D. completely by cutting off communication, and she puts her earpiece into her champagne so that she and Ian can talk privately. And because of this, she really kind of has him in the palm of her hand. She's like flirting hardcore. And then she pulls out that powder compact that I didn't even notice before. And so as it turns out, it's a S.H.I.E.L.D. gadget, and it got her back online with the team. And then all of a sudden, that makes Skye a triple agent.
Whoa, triple threat.
Like, sorry, I thought she wasn't supposed to be a good agent because she's funny, but now she's literally a triple agent.
Wow.
So then we cut back over to Coulson. He's yelling at Fitz to get his tech, like, figured out to get the force field down. And Simmons is standing up for him, like, saying his name repeatedly does not increase productivity. And, like, literally, thank you. Glad someone said it. But then actually it does, because he, like, fixes the thing and the force field goes away. So I guess it's fine.
I think that's more Fitz tuning him out.
Yeah. So Coulson tries to rescue Hall from the lab, but Hall gives us like a classic Southern-ish accent. He's like, "Sorry, Mr. Coulson, I'm right where I'm supposed to be." And like, where is he from though? Like, I feel like in this episode I've heard New York, I've heard California, and now this like weird amalgamation of Southern America. Like, where are you from?
Okay, new headcanon. This is not an English actor faking an American accent. It's just that this character is like a fun, quirky guy who likes to do little accents. You know? Like, he's just in a silly, goofy mood.
For real.
He's like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Coulson. I'm right where I'm supposed to be." And Coulson's like, "Can you be serious, please?" That's my new headcanon. Dr. Hall is just in a silly, goofy mood. He's just a fun and quirky little man. He's like, "I may be a genius, but I'm also really funny." I don't know if you knew.
So anyway, this catches Coulson off guard too, although not for the same reason, clearly. Because Coulson didn't plan for Hall to actually be in on his own kidnapping. And, in fact, Hall was the one who leaked his location. And then, like, as soon as we learn this, Hall turns on the gravy train machine, and Coulson gets yeeted sideways and wakes up on the ceiling.
So the set for Dr. Hall's lab, which is affected by the gravitonium, it was built on a giant gimbal, so it could rotate 360 degrees, and all the props and furniture were like secured to the set, like nailed down.
That's
or
cool.
hot glued or something.
Hot glued.
Yeah, but I love that sort of effect where, like, the actual physical set, like, turns.
Yeah,
I think that's
so
cool.
cool.
I think the Backstreet Boys or something, maybe NSYNC, used it for, like, a music video. I'm showing my age here.
Well, I think, like, Billie Eilish used it on SNL one time, too.
Backstreet Boys, Billie Eilish, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The trifecta.
What do they all have in common? A gimbal.
They are all pop icons.
Yes. So, then we cut back to Skye and Ian, and they're talking after the, like, earthquake from the Germatron thing, and that earthquake is what lets Ian know that S.H.I.E.L.D. knows where they are. So now he's mad at Skye, and he starts talking more shit about S.H.I.E.L.D. and their agents, and Skye defends them, and in doing so realizes that she's in love with Ward. Or, well, I noticed that she's in love with Ward. So Ian pulls a gun on her, and Skye uses the move that Ward taught her to take the gun away. And then Ian's bodyguard, who is really not a good bodyguard, he's like, "Kid's got balls." To which Skye and I said at the same time, "Yuck." So then Skye jumps out the window.
One of my favorite scenes, like, in the whole show is when Quinn is like, "Do you have what it takes to pull the trigger?" And Skye looks serious for a split second and then just goes, "Nope."
Yeah, right.
runs and jumps out the window.
It was
I think
awesome.
that was the moment I fell in love with the show.
Yeah.
But Like, I also like that later, when she's almost caught, she's genuinely scared. I think it took a while for the show to find a good balance between, like, humor and drama.
Yeah.
But at least as an 18-year-old, it worked for me. I didn't have, like, a semblance of a critical eye then.
Right.
I was like, pretty girl, funny, do action? Yes.
Yes.
Like.
So she jumps out the window. She, like, cannonballs into the pool outside. And immediately there is another earthquake. And then gravity stops working and everyone is, like, flying around. And Ian sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, get to the chopper! So then we cut back to Coulson trying to talk down Hall and get him to turn off the device. And Hall says something like, oh, well, Quinn likes to feel smart. And, like, so he's a man. Like, yeah. We get that. And Hall also has a pretty fair point when he's like, S.H.I.E.L.D's search for an alternative power source brought an alien invasion, so I don't think this is much worse. And, like, yeah.
That's
fair.
That's fair. Even Coulson agrees.
Right. So then we cut back over to Skye. She's, like, being cornered by security when Ward shows up to save the day, and he knocks them all out with some awful punches that he must have learned from Coulson. It was terrible. He literally just, like, punched straight up into the air, and somebody just, like, jumped away from him. And I laughed for, like, a solid 10 minutes. So then we cut back over to Coulson Hall. And Coulson is not doing a good job of convincing Hall to turn off the Galatron machine. And Hall gives, like, an excellent mic drop line. He's like, we have to live with the choices that we make, but sometimes we have to die with them too. And then he gets taken into the empty like Castiel in Supernatural.
Coulson shot the glass and sent him to super gay hell.
Which I really appreciated because Supernatural is my favorite show. So I love a good crossover.
I thought you were going to say, I really appreciate it because super gay hell is awesome.
I mean, yeah, probably that too.
Sounds like a fun time.
It does. So then we flash forward to S.H.I.E.L.D. HQ, where May is telling her best friend Coulson that she was too worried about him and she wants to come out of retirement, which I'm so glad because I can't wait to see May in action. Skye is back on the punching bag because now she knows that she has very little training to do in order to punch better than Ward.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. You don't even have to connect with anyone's face.
Exactly. So Ward comes over and they start their regular episode, Heart to Heart, where Skye is giving him her tragic backstory to like make them even. And as it turns out, she grew up in foster care and had a pretty hard time. She like never stayed in one place for very long, and only one of the places that she stayed was an actual house. So then Ward feels bad for her, obviously. And one of the things she says is that she learned that hoping for something and losing it hurts more than never hoping for anything at all, which is very sad and relatable. But also, during this whole scene, she's, like, recovering from working out, so she's, like, bringing a water bottle back and forth to her lips and never takes an actual sip of it.
To be fair, okay, so I have tried, I make TikToks occasionally, and I have tried to, like, make videos where I'm casually also drinking something. Have you ever tried to film someone taking a sip and then swallowing something? Because it is not a pretty process.
Look, I understand why they do that, but it makes me laugh every time I see that on TV. It's one of my favorite things.
No one looks good drinking something. Like, absolutely no one. Everyone looks weird swallowing something.
That's true. Anyway, so now it's time for the post-content, where we see the Graveltron device being locked into a vault per Coulson's request, and then an unnamed agent goes back and takes the identification plate off of the door, also per Coulson's request. And then we get a glimpse inside the vault again, and a hand is reaching out of the empty, or the goo, or whatever, and like, Voldemort lives in the empty in super gay hell.
Oh my goodness. As an adult now, like watching it back with a critical eye, I don't think that this was a particularly strong episode. That's not to say that it wasn't good. We were saying before we started recording that it's funny that the second episode was one of the lowest rated, because honestly I think that it's a stronger episode than this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely like the big reveals in this episode were like they did it for me when I was first watching it. Like the truck being lifted in the air and like thrown all over the place, and then Sky jumping into the pool, and the guy being sucked into super gay hell, and then the hand coming out at the end. Me and my dad both. I think we both went like, ah! Like that's my main memory of this episode, was me and my dad sitting on the sofa, and then the hand comes out of the goo, and we're like, ah!
I can picture it.
So, stray thoughts. What do we got?
Well, so first off, I want to apologize for bringing up so many other sci-fi series. But as I said, Supernatural is my favorite show of all time. And it's what I thought of so much, and I think it's just because of, like, the format of this particular episode.
Yeah, in season 1, they kind of did like a Monster of the Week style format, where like every episode is like a new thing. Yeah,
Supernatural did that too.
Yeah, eventually they kind of stop, and it's more of like an overarching story than like a new villain every episode. Mm-hmm. One of the reviews that I found from James Hunt at Den of Geek, he felt there's a distinct feeling of treading water. Mm-hmm. And he found the episodic plot to be fairly by the numbers for a show that's supposed to be about the fantastic. So yeah, it is like,
I get that.
Very like format, very like there wasn't much to differentiate it from other shows of this type.
Yeah, I get that. And I was feeling the same thing, because another thing that I wrote down was that it feels weird to be, like, noticing all of the plot devices than just focusing on, like, being within this fictional world, you know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I really don't... I don't think this will spoil anything, because I know that we've talked about, and we've obviously said that, it doesn't always stay with this Monster of the Week style. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I feel, is like the one show that got better and better the more off the rails it went. Like, the more bizarre choices they made, the better it got.
Yeah. I really liked that this episode had more, like, small May moments. And I would really like for there to be more of those.
May's a great character, and I can't wait for you to see what she's like fleshed out.
Me too. Also, I would like to make a guess. I'm going to give Ward and Sky like 3 more episodes tops before they get it. I feel like it's coming. It's coming soon.
We'll see. Honestly, I don't even remember. That concludes our episode for Season 1, Episode 3, The Asset. Woo-hoo. Next week, we will be covering Season 1, Episode 4, I Spy. If you would like to follow us on social media, our TikTok is at Agents of Nothing Podcast, and our Twitter is at Agents Nothing Pod. You can also go to anchor.fm/Agents of Nothing and send us a voice message with your thoughts. And if we get enough listeners, you can eventually donate to us, which would be pretty cool. You can also email us at agentsofnothingpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you thought of the episode when you first watched it, or if it's your first time watching the show all the way through. Tell us your theories for what you think is going to come up.
Please do.
Yeah, we would love to read them. And our personal social media, mine, Mariah, my Twitter is at FullSwampWitch_. My TikTok is at Submarine Warfare, and my Instagram is also Submarine Warfare.
And for me, Caroline, My Twitter is @rustypage95. My Instagram is @_rustypage. And my TikTok is @crazyginger995.
All right, we will see you guys in the next one. Well, we won't see you, but you will hear us.
We won't see you. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye, love you.